Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. There's a bit of a shift underway with Bitcoin bulls taking over in the short term. They have a lot of proving to do on the daily time frame, but there were some clues standing out, and they stood out to me yesterday thanks to a member highlighting what the miners were doing. I'll point out exactly what shifted me to a bit more bullish for the rest of June in the cryptocurrency space yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So before we look at our regular technical analysis here, we'll look a little bit into the past yesterday and a couple of things that stood out because honestly, I had a little bit of a eureka moment, and it was just a notable shift in what my probabilities were as far as what I'm anticipating in the short term. And it came thanks to one of our members, and it was really cool because I was live streaming at the time, and normally when I'm live streaming, I'm constantly talking and there's flow constantly. And he asked a question, what do you think about how these miners are closing and how the miners are closing stronger than Bitcoin right now? And I pull up their charts and I just went silent because my mind just started cranking, and I literally felt my probability needle as to what's the most likely scenario start to shift towards the bulls as I was looking at things. So as far as what stood out in writing, and we'll look at it on the charts. So this is yesterday at 4 p.m. after the live stream. Pointed out that the mining stocks were closing stronger than where Bitcoin was at. And then I looked at their monthly charts, and then I looked at the altcoin chart. So let's go through that. First things first, yesterday, MARA, hourly time frame. This is how the day closed. This was a stronger bounce than Bitcoin. And we closed up near the high of the day, and obviously we're getting very significant follow through. So I looked at the miners, both MARA and Riot, closing stronger than Bitcoin. Said, okay, that shifts my probability a little bit. I think that Bitcoin's going to get some follow through. At this point in time, Bitcoin had already bounced significantly on the hourly that we were going to anticipate an hourly high or low compared to 31,000 where we bottomed was going to be the most likely scenario. So that made me believe that we would confirm an hourly trend change because the miners were closing with confidence. And then I pulled up the 2-day chart for the miners and I said, okay, because the daily chart's not really clear. This choppy action back here. Have we changed the trend? Yes or no? In my opinion, no. This is the 2-day chart changing the trend for the first time if we break 2711. So still have to break that level. And if we're looking at Riot, the bulls already broke it. Look at their monthly charts. Monthly breakout, consolidation for a few months, monthly high or low off EMA 12. Why does this stand out to me? Because I have been scouting growth names and stocks. If you've been watching our stock market video for the last month, I have just been watching this setup, and it's already played out on a lot of names. And now it's shaping up on crypto and these miners. And if you look at NIO, this is an electric vehicle name. Massive breakout to all-time highs, multiple months of consolidation. Early May, we're just scouting. Watch growth, watch growth. Monthly high or low off EMA, and now a bounce is underway. MP is materials. They're another one. Massive breakout, monthly EMA 12, monthly high or low set. We're watching for it in a lot of other places. The biotech sector, all-time highs, monthly high or low off EMA 12, trying to set it. ARKK is another one. Let's pull up Bitcoin's monthly chart. What is it doing? All-time high, multiple months of pullback, EMA 12 support test. And again, looking at our miners, everybody's trying to do it. So I like that setup for monthly higher lows coming off the all-time highs. Now, granted, bigger picture, what do I anticipate is going to be the likely result of monthly higher lows? Probably monthly lower highs and a tightening range. And that can play out all the way into 2022. And going to be looking for that on the miners as well. Tons of space for a monthly lower high on Riot, anything under 79.50. So that was one reason my probability needle started going bullish on Bitcoin. Another reason is the altcoin space. So many altcoins are nowhere near their lows. Bitcoin came within 3% of hitting its low, and other altcoins were still 20 to 30% above their support level. So if the altcoins are not dropping down to lower lows, that just makes me more bullish on the cryptocurrency space as a whole. ETH/USD, 2-day equilibrium. Started looking to me like a 2-day higher low was going to form here compared to 2182. And we have a really nice equilibrium continuing to shape up. So before all that, I was waiting for a break of 30,000 before I was going to get aggressive. So I did not get the initial bounce. But what I did was entered on hourly consolidation looking for a higher low. I chose Ethereum as my horse, and Bitcoin was the right choice. That being said, Right now, Bitcoin and its dominance chart are doing something that we have not seen in months, and that is they are leading the way to the upside. So looking back at hindsight, am I saying to myself, I should have chosen Bitcoin? Not at all. You give me that setup 10 times, I will take an altcoin 10 out of 10 times. Because the pattern, time and time and time and time and time again, was altcoin bulls see more upside than Bitcoin bulls, and that played out for months. And then you get the time where the pattern changes. Patterns always change eventually, and I'm not going to expect, I should have known the first time it doesn't happen in months that I should have gone with Bitcoin. No, not at all. So if I could choose in hindsight, I obviously would have gone with Bitcoin, but it's not something I'm going to get down on myself about because there's nothing, in my opinion, that I missed. What I do now is take that information and say, okay, I've got an Ethereum position that I entered on the hourly consolidation, and I will now enter a Bitcoin position next time we consolidate on the daily, and the next time I'm looking for a daily higher low. And I'm being very patient on this playing out because number one, I'm not convinced a monthly higher low is going to be set. I'm absolutely watching very closely for it. And number two, I've got my anti-FOMO no-touch positions, which took a huge hit over the past month plus. But they are going up if the cryptocurrency space reverses and if I don't have as large a swing position as I want to have. So I have long-term no-touch exposure, I have Ethereum exposure from last night, and I will want some more Bitcoin exposure, but I am very patient waiting for it. And it may be a 12-hour higher low that I look for it on. Probably will be. And then I'll just put my stop under 30,000. And I'll use a position size where that's an okay amount of risk to be looking for a move up into the 40s. We're going to anticipate a monthly equilibrium. If 31,000 holds and 30,000, monthly inside bar is going to form. And then it's up to the bulls in July to break the high of June for it to be a monthly higher low. And that's just what NIO, nope, not an inside bar. There are some names out there that did it. Inside bar bull break for the monthly higher low. This was an inside bar bear break with zero follow through into the monthly higher low. So again, these names have nothing to do with each other. As far as the growth sector, well, I mean, growth definitely is higher risk and higher reward. But in terms of different sectors, it's all just the same technical setup. Massive euphoria to all-time highs, pullback for a monthly higher low, EMA 12 support, and then looking for that shift again. So that is where we stand now, and I no longer am waiting. I was going to go real aggressive on a break at 30,000, and the trade didn't come to me. So again, if I'm going to be wrong, I'm going to leave money on the table. I'm not going to be wrong and lose money. And this is one of those scenarios where, because I was not being aggressive buying at 31,000, left some money on the table as far as the bounce follow through, but that's a-okay. So, what do we need to see now? Bigger picture for the monthly higher low to be set. Well, baby step number one is a daily trend change. So bulls want to create as much space as possible between the top of this bounce and 31,000 to create the space for a daily trend change to take place. Key resistance is 34.5 thousand. There are some shorts being squeezed here. It's not a massive short squeeze, but this 5-minute action here shows you this is a confirmed 5-minute downtrend breaking to the lowest price in a few hours straight into a little mini short squeeze. So right now we're in a bit of a rising wedge pattern. We will be due for 4-hour consolidation. The last 4-hour higher low was 32.4K. We've gone 13% higher since then. So we'll be looking for a 4-hour higher low to form once we top out. Have to lose the hourly uptrend first. So we play the zoom out game in the opposing direction now. We have an hourly uptrend. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out. We scout a 4-hour higher low. When we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we'll look for a 12-hour higher low. And that daily trend change is key for me. Can we top out on this bounce and then break 30,000? Absolutely, it's possible. I don't think that's the more likely scenario. You got the headlines. Again, the headlines are to fit the price narrative. And you had a scenario where we've got this El Salvador news and we've got the news of Michael Saylor oversubscribing sale of bonds for an additional purchase of, I think it's 500 billion Bitcoin now at this point. And why that's bullish news is it's different. There's two things where, Michael Saylor will tweet, hey, we just bought 10 million more Bitcoin. This is, we are going to buy 500 million more Bitcoin. They haven't done so yet. So this is the market pricing that into a certain degree. And it was a delayed reaction where these news headlines come out and the price doesn't really move much at all. And now we're seeing that delayed reaction as things start to shift a little bit. So lots of proving still needed from these bulls, but a confident hold of that low. And if we look at it from the weekly perspective, it's pretty much a double bottom. And if we can change the daily trend and get some weekly bounce follow through, anything under 59.5 thousand is just a weekly lower high. So one time frame at a time, the bulls will have to prove it, and the next time frame that they need to prove it on will be a daily trend change to see follow through. Because what does a daily trend change do? Think about it from both perspectives. Put yourself in a bull position and a bear position. If we top out, let's say we top out now, 37,000. We've got $6,000 of space to pull back. Let's say we set a higher low. So what's going on right now on this scenario, if this played out? We have shorts re-entering for a lower high, seeing these lower highs of resistance, re-entering, and we have some bulls taking profit, 20% plus in a short amount of time on a name that's bearish on the longer term time frames. Absolutely, bulls are going to lock that in. But if we confirm the daily trend change, anybody that went short is then underwater, and that shows us sustained bull buying. And that shows me a lot of people like me buying a daily higher low that missed the initial move. And Bitcoin is proving enough to us on this bounce to make us want to grab some positions on consolidation. So that's why it's so important to follow through with trend changes to prove it. A move up is nice, but once we top out and the momentum shifts on the shorter term time frames back to the bears, we have to recover and see a higher high from there. The dominance chart, I'm now paying attention. The past bunch of videos, I skip over in 10 seconds and I'm not paying attention. Why am I paying attention now? Because we are in the spotlight. Bitcoin is in the spotlight. And I've been talking about altcoins being in the spotlight for months, where we see our altcoin US dollar and Bitcoin pairings directly correlated and both in bullish uptrends. That's the spotlight. Right now, Bitcoin and the dominance chart are directly correlated and going up. And it's even more so, we're not even pulling back. This has been going up when Bitcoin is going up, and it's been going up when Bitcoin consolidates. So that tells us Bitcoin is going up faster than altcoins, and it's consolidating less significantly than altcoins. This is a major shift from what has gone on at any point in the last lot of months. 3 months, 2.5, 3 months. A major shift. Weekly higher low trying to form. With this weekly higher low, a lot of our alt BTC pairings, even our strong ones, are giving us weekly lower highs. ETH USD, 2-day equilibrium. The only thing I'm watching right now is the 2-day time frame. We're either going to see a bear break of 23. If we break 2308 at this point, that's a clear bear break for me. Or a clear bull break over 2890. And if we get the bull break, we zoom out and we scout a weekly lower high, anything under the all-time high. ETH BTC, notable pullback here. Technically speaking, still a daily uptrend. But if this pullback is significant enough where we set a higher low, but if we set a lower high and lower low from there, again, weekly equilibrium will be shaping up. High, low, losing the daily higher lows will be a weekly lower high, and then we'll be watching our recent low to see if we remain in a tightening range or if we roll over into monthly consolidation, which would show us a lot of focus shifting back into Bitcoin. So key weekly tightening ranges on a lot of BTC pairings. And we can see ETH BTC is just real weak. So again, definitely picked the wrong horse with ETH over BTC in my decision. But fortunately, still making some profit, just a bit less. So my entry on ETH started scaling into 5-minute oversold conditions last night, and I ended up getting 2 fills, but they're still fairly small positions. And it ended up being, one fill was 24.50 and the other one was maybe 24.20, something along those lines. Honestly, I was going to bed as I was doing that, and I kept my position size small enough where if we did drop down and break to a lower low, which was not the most likely scenario because of how much space we had for an hourly higher low to form, but if that had happened, I would have ended up with maybe a 2-day loser or something. And considering that, my link daily higher low trade from 2 weeks ago was a week maker, giving up a 2-day loser, no big deal whatsoever. So I was willing to risk that, anticipating that an hourly higher low was the more likely scenario. So at this point, I'm, again, it's not a huge position whatsoever. It's maybe around, in the low 2600s, it's a day maker. So we would need notable follow through. We need a bull break at the equilibrium for this to be a solid, notable trade. Anything that's a day or two, day maker, loser, no big deal, because the stock world has been really nice with volatility and been really easy to make a day maker or two as a day trader in the stock world recently. So that's where I stand right now and have some exposure. Obviously, I would like to have a bit more, but I'm going to be patient and look to establish some swing positions. Theta USDT still standing out as a lead bull. The BTC pairing daily time frame did just double top, but we are up at the highs here. It's actually a triple top. We've got to be cautious of that. Theta has a main net launch or something end of June. Got to be cautious of a sell the news event. But this is a triple top right now. We're just going to look for a daily higher low, but we do have to be cautious because if we lose the daily higher lows, we have a range-bound weekly chart. There's just a lot more range and a lot longer time frame than a lot of our other names. So just looking for a daily higher low on the BTC pairing initially, but if we lose the daily uptrend on any BTC pairing that's been strong, it's the spotlight fading and the spotlight brightening on Bitcoin. So Theta USDT, daily, getting a little bit unclear, but most important level, the low of yesterday is now a must-hold short-term level. Any name that breaks the low of yesterday instantly goes on one side over here, where any name that's holding it stays over on this side, as far as just compartmentalizing and organizing who's stronger, who's weaker. So 803 is now a very key level, and the bulls need to break 1009 and 1048 to try and keep this daily uptrend going. Bigger picture, weekly, anything under 1320 is just a weekly lower high. So we will have to see weekly trend changes for follow-through of monthly higher lows. And NIO is the exact same thing. Weekly move is coming straight off the low. We will have to see a weekly trend change. It's the same setup as our growth names, which is exciting for me because, again, this is all I've been focusing on as far as a swing perspective in the stock world has been these growth names for the last month. ADA, daily higher low of 133.5. We held 140. Resistance is 174 and 189. If we lose the daily higher lows, it actually already is shaping up as a weekly equilibrium. High, low, lower high of 189, and anything above 101 is a weekly higher low. So tightening weekly range is forming as the ADA BTC chart just made a bear break. Sideways for a week, bear break, and weekly lower high shaping up. And I like the 3-day time frame a bit better. High, low, lower high, scouting a higher low compared to 3097. Matic. I like Matic's 3-day chart as well. Really nice equilibrium, scouting a higher low compared to 745. A lot of space where that can form, and bulls certainly hope the low of yesterday is that higher low at 1276. So a real aggressive bull is just making an entry and saying, okay, my stop's going under 127, and if that's the 3-day higher low, I nail it, and if it's not, I'm wrong, and I stop out. And the BTC pairing is doing the same thing, looking for the higher low. High, low, lower high, scouting the higher low. So it's not game over for altcoins and BTC pairings, but they need to form some higher lows. And I do anticipate the most likely scenario is they will. BNB USDT, daily uptrend, but if we fail 433 on this bounce and break the low of yesterday, weekly lower high, and that's a potential weekly bear flag. Look at our retracement size here. Okay, we got to the gray area. I call the gray area between 382 and 50 because it can go either way. Under 382 is a likely bear flag, but that was almost a 50% retracement on the bounce. So not as bearish as I thought. But bulls really want to keep these daily higher lows going. 433 key resistance. And the BNB BTC, little daily support level was lost, but again, we're watching for the potential of a weekly lower high on the BTC pairings. And the question, if we get them, will be, do we form weekly equilibriums or do we confirm weekly downtrends? Again, cannot stress enough how different it is that this dominance chart on Bitcoin is going up while Bitcoin is going up and consolidating both. It's a very notable shift. It's only been a shift that's been underway for the last 12 hours or so, but it absolutely has our attention significantly because it's so different from what we've been seeing over the last 3+ months. So I'm scouting an entry in Bitcoin. I'll be watching for a 12-hour higher low. I have a swing trade mindset. Every position that I establish from here will have a stop under the low of yesterday, because that low of yesterday is key. Because everything that I just said about monthly higher lows and about shifting momentum and all of that will be wrong if we break lows of yesterday. You know, if one altcoin breaks a low yesterday or a few, that doesn't matter. But obviously, if Bitcoin breaks 31,000, it's a very significant failure by the bulls, in my opinion. So that needs to be our low, and we need to see bulls continue to change trends on 12-hour daily time frames for the rest of June. So I'm going to position myself for that, and if I'm wrong, I'll give back some of the profit, but I've done really good protecting that profit over the last month, and I'm okay taking that risk on. I did stop out. I did have my first red trade on crypto in a month or so, and that was buying ETH, again, small position, half the position size I have now, but trying for this daily higher low, and I stopped out when 25.50 broke. So I was looking for the daily higher low and the bull break of these resistances, and obviously we did not get it. So stopped out with a small loss and then re-entered a bit lower. So Bitcoin hourly consolidation looks underway. Nope, not yet, but close. And we'll see how long can the bulls maintain the hourly uptrend, creating as much space as possible for some cushion for an eventual daily trend change attempt. All right. Feel free to ask any questions, do good things, and we will see you soon.